You're thinking of moving to the Gold Coast, or are you wondering how much you're going to be paying for rent every week with the current prices of rent just simply skyrocketing? Well, this video was made for you. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Rafael. I'm full-time content creator for Instagram, TikTok, and also YouTube. If you already follow me over there, you probably know that it's the third time I'm moving out, moving in, moving from here and there since I got to the Gold Coast. I've been here for 3 months and it's the third time I'm moving out, reason being simply budget. If you're gonna be moving overseas or even within Australia to the Gold Coast, you must watch this video until the end to see exactly how much money you can pay for rent in here and what this kind of budget can get you throughout the whole city. And well, to make things way better, I thought about giving you exactly what's the current situation here around the city, because there's a lot of people coming in. There's a massive flow of new people overseas and within Australians as well. I want to live the laid back lifestyle of Gold Coast, but they still believe that the budget is very low, which is not, unfortunately. And ever since I started living in here, and I've got a few mates living around, I could tell you exactly what's the current rent situation, sales, house, real estate. Whether you're thinking about living in here or just to start your life in here with a couple of friends, you're couples, a family, whatever, I think it's important to understand what's the current situation at the moment, because it's quite a bit more expensive than everyone thought, but it's still very worth it. I just want to make things clear to everyone. But before anything else, if you just got here, stay till the end of this video. I'll show exactly my new house, how much I'm paying, and what's the budget I have, and what that budget is giving me weekly in a rent when it comes down to a bedroom, to a nice place, and how much I'm paying. But before I start telling you exactly what is going on in here, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to my channel, and also comment where you're from. Just wondering if you guys are outside Australia, if you're Australians, whatever. And if you haven't followed me yet on my social media, Instagram and TikTok, make sure you do it so, because I post that every day. But before I tell you exactly what is going on, don't forget to hit like, hit the bell as well, so you receive my videos every week, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. So why did I decide to move to the Gold Coast? Was basically because it was way cheaper than Sydney as well in comparison to cost of living, all of that, food, rent, and all that you need to survive on a daily basis, on weekly, monthly, whatever. So food, rent, petrol, I would say. The cost of living, generally speaking, I thought would be way cheaper in comparison to Sydney. So that was actually the reason why I wanted to move to the Gold Coast. And probably this is the same with a bunch of you. A bunch of you are thinking about living in Australia. And Gold Coast would be a nice place, Queensland, Gold Coast, even more because of the lifestyle, obviously. Look how beautiful is this place, right? I'm close to the lake. I was actually close to the beach before as well. But in comparison to Sydney, it would be way cheaper, right? However, the current situation, which is 2023, is not exactly like that, and that's why I decided to create this video, because I got a lot of messages on my Instagram, on my TikTok, asking about everything, the rent and whatsoever. I could actually create a new video if you guys want it. Comment down below, by the way, if you want a new video about cost of living on the Gold Coast. I could definitely break that out for you. So to understand the current prices of rents in here in the Gold Coast, you have to get the whole situation that's been happening. Person here, they don't whisper, they simply shout. To understand the current situation for the past couple of 2-3 years, Australia was completely shut down because of COVID. So basically what happens, a lot of Australians, they were living overseas, they couldn't come back, the borders were shut. So basically who was inside, who wasn't outside, was outside, and that was it. Now as far as it goes, every country has a different way of dealing with COVID. So some countries would have a general policy, a general route that the whole country would have to follow. Some countries, they would have different policies within states according to each situation. Back in Brazil, some states would allow some things, some other won't, In Spain, pretty much the same. But here in Australia, I would say like every state, every region had a different way of dealing with COVID. So imagine we have some sort of a very complex situation going on. Country has its borders shut. Each state is dealing differently according to their own beliefs with COVID. A lot of people are sick. Some people are not take vaccine. As far as it goes, I know that here in Australia, a lot of people didn't take vaccine. They weren't vaccinated because they thought that wasn't safe. All right, that being said, we have a country that the borders are shut, and we have a country as well that in each state they deal differently according to their own beliefs, their own rules with COVID. Now, don't take me wrong, each country has its own way with things, and in the past when COVID hit, different countries had different ways of dealing with COVID. So back in Brazil, some states would have different policies, some others would have different rules, and so on. Whereas on Spain or also in Europe, some of the places, like the whole country, would have to follow only one route. So they'll be in lockdown. Now, for that matter, in Australia, basically, you've got different states having different routes, dealing differently according to whatever they believe with COVID. On top of that, in Australia, there are a lot of people that don't believe in the COVID vaccine. And a bunch of them have taken the vaccine, they are not vaccinated, they believe it's not safe, which has happened in so many different countries. If you see the UK as well, the amount of people that haven't taken the vaccine is just very, very high. Now, it's not on me to judge if it's right, correct, or no, whatever. It's actually a kind of issue here in Australia. I've seen people arguing over that, but I'm not here to judge or say it's right or wrong. I'm just here to explain to you. I'm actually here to explain the facts that led to a massive increase when it comes down to rental and houses, real estate here on the Gold. So we ended up having three main facts. First of all, obviously COVID. Second of all, borders shut. You can come inside, you can come outside. So there's some sort of like repressed demand within the country. Third of all, people are not willing to take vaccines. Some people are, some others not, but there is a huge percentage of the whole population not being fully vaccinated. Now, that being said, what did it happen in everywhere? Literally every country around the world when COVID hit. Well, basically people wanted to live their own lives regularly. Being able to walk around like I'm doing at the moment, just being outdoors, not wearing masks, living their life at the fullest without being concerned of having COVID and any kind of disease or spreading out the virus. So that being said, before the borders were lifted, a lot of people came to Queensland, especially the Gold Coast, because the restrictions here were much more lenient. COVID wasn't thriving in here. They were dealing very much well with the whole virus, so people were living their best. Whereas around the country, people were still feeling some of the restrictions, couldn't be walking around, like just a few rules that they had to still follow. That here, especially on the Gold Coast in Queensland, they were much more lenient. Like people were living their lives much more normally. Especially here on the Gold Coast, Queensland, the virus wasn't thriving, so the restrictions were pretty much lenient. People were respectful, they could actually live their lives. Whereas in some other places in Australia, everything was still shut. All the rules were still going, the restrictions as well. People were still like living if they were with COVID. Within Australia, you had a huge movement of people from Victoria, Melbourne, Sydney coming to the Gold Coast. So what basically happened? You ended up having a supply-demand relationship. So on one hand, you've got a lot of people coming to this place, but on the other hand, you have less accommodation, you have less house available, less rental available for all those people. So it's kind of like that, right? And then the price goes and comes exactly the way supply and demand works as well. Now, only with this internal movement from people of Victoria, Melbourne, Sydney, within Australia, the rent already had gone super high. Borders weren't lifted already. but there was a movement from the north, south of Australia, but there was a movement from all around the country to Queensland because of the lenient restrictions, and because obviously everyone wants to live their lives as a regular person, just being outdoors and not concerned about catching any virus. This is something common, everybody wants that. So if you see the whole situation is actually very understanding, right? You've got supply, demand, you've got people coming, you don't have a lot of houses, accommodation for everyone. So it's very understanding that the price goes a little bit up. That being said, to complete the whole situation, Australia had finally lifted the whole borders, and then people that were living outside, even Australians, they were blocked to come back to the country. And new people, foreigners, and people like me, outsiders that wanted to have a chance to live in Australia, start coming in. So to give you the whole picture, imagine you've got COVID, people are afraid to live, and they just want to live outdoors still. They don't want to live locked in their houses. Then you've got lockdown going on, a lot of restrictions. The whole country is shut. You're not having people coming inside or outside, is simply whatever has in here. So supply and demand is sort of like, you know, trying to balancing out. And then you've got a state that is actually being very successful while dealing with COVID, and then you just lift the borders back again. Now imagine this, how this is actually affecting supply and demand. It's just ridiculous. A place that in the past used to have, I don't know, like 5,000 people living in, now you've got a flow of 30k, 40k, and on top of that, the state will also welcome the Olympics, will also be the place for Olympics in a few years. When it comes down to supply and demand, it's just crazy, because before you didn't have any demand because of all of that, the restrictions, COVID, lockdown, and then out of nowhere, this place being on top of the demand of everyone. Everyone wants to move here. So what did it happen? So what happened is that for the last 2-3 years, the rent and houses price have increased way more than double. We heard stories of people buying their houses for 100k and selling them for 200-300k after 2 years. That's more than 100% profit. It's just ridiculous. The increase is huge because the demand is also huge. And the competition was so stiff that people were paying rent 6 months in advance just to get in front of the line. And to make this video even more real, I could tell you I've done a lot of, I would say 30 inspections at least, ever since I got here in Australia. And some of them, there were huge line. I remember till nowadays, like there was a really nice house like those ones on the lake. I don't know if you guys can see it, but yeah, exactly like those ones. Exactly like those houses in the lake. We had like 40 people in the line, 50 people in the line waiting to check the house out, and I was competing with families, group of friends, a lot of different people, a lot of different profiles, which is something like I've never seen my entire life, and I lived in different countries, you know. I've never seen people competing that much for only one house. So real prices and real increases that I've seen it. I tried to apply for a unity with 2 bathroom, 2 bedroom. The previous tenant was paying $450 a week for the same unity. When I decided to take up the lease, the real estate agent offered me back $610 a week. You know how much is that? That's almost 30-40% increase in rent out of blue. And the reply I had it was the house has to increase according to market value. Market value again, we have supply and demand. Now that's alright, don't take me wrong. I think if you can afford it, you should pay it. If I don't see value enough into something, I won't be paying, regardless the supply and demand. And not only the leases had increased, but also renting bedrooms, you know, like for flatmates or sharing houses had increased as well. Another thing on top of that was actually happening. People that got their lease 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and didn't have any increase in their rent, they start putting their rooms, the bedrooms, way more expensive, so they sort of like profit on top of the people they are sub-renting. So let's say that you got into a lease and you're paying 600 for a 2-bedroom apartment. The person will probably put the second bedroom for 500 a week, and then the actually tenant, which has the name on the lease, would be paying 100 a week. So the person that is sub-rented, the sub-tenant, will be paying 500. And it happened all over. A lot of people are making profit. They are tenants, but they are sub-renting, making more expensive because the actual landlords didn't readjust the price of rent, and then the tenants are sub-renting and making more profit on top of the people they are renting the bedrooms of. Coming a little bit down to reality, when I first got here, I was living in front of the beach, Palm Beach, and I was paying 400 a week. But the tenant, the person that was sub-renting to me, was paying much less. I could bet he was paying like 600, 620 for the full apartment per week. And there was also one person living in the living room. So what happens very often here in Australia, you're gonna rent a bedroom and then you see someone else's living in the living room. Obviously the second place that I was living was in front of the beach as well, and it happened pretty much the same. The guy got the lease a little bit more cheaper, and then they put the other rooms a bit more expensive, increasing the rent as well and paying less for whatever the other flatmates are paying. The guy who's got the name on the lease is paying less. But now you guys see it, how many facts are bubbling and pushing the market rent just ridiculous increase in high. You've got also people sub-renting for a higher price than we're actually paying on the lease. And they can only do that because the demand is ridiculous high. If you put your house on Flatmates, you see how many messages you're gonna get is ridiculous. There are a lot of people that are not living here on the Gold Coast anymore. They used to live because the rents are just getting crazy. They are getting out of control. The two situations, the two different flats that I was living back, I was paying 400 a week. The first one was bills included, and the second one it wasn't, so it was about 420, 430 a week with bills included. If you're coming to Gold Coast and you think of paying 150, 200 per week for a bedroom, you're gonna have to be living very far away from the Gold Coast, maybe inside, really in the countryside, in the mountains, far from the beach. Move to a place that is a bit cheaper, and I'm currently paying 300 a week with bills included. Now if you're coming living down here, I strongly recommend to have a budget of around 250 a week for a room. That'll be like at least a start, but if you want to have some margins, between 300 and 400 a week. If you want to live in sort of like a nice place, you know, some sort of like close to the beach, maybe in the south of the Gold Coast. I'm not quite sure about the north. I'm not quite sure about Labrador, Southport, if you can pay up to 250 or so. What I could tell you though is that around Burleigh, Palm Beach, Miami, Broad Beach, Mermaid and up, and even Coolangatta, Currumbin, all those places, you're gonna be paying around 300, you know, bills included. So I'll be like really mindful about your budget, because with 150, I haven't seen any place like that, unless you're getting the lease with a lot of friends. It's a huge house. You've got people sharing their own bedroom, which I happen to see it as well. I know actually people that are paying 250 sharing the bedroom. Can you believe that? They're paying 250 a week sharing their own bedroom. Rents are crazy. So if you get lucky enough like me, like I'll just be patient, keep trying, keep moving in, and you find a place. But now, if you stick to the end of this video, as I promised before, I'm gonna show you my new house. I'm paying currently 300 a week, bills included, and I'm living in a very nice area. It's 5-minute drive from the beach. It's not beachfront, but that's alright, no worries for me. It's just a lovely place to be living. Couldn't be more grateful. So I'll show you exactly what $300 bills included, weekly, could get you here around the Gold Coast. Alright guys, so now it's time to show you exactly where I'm living, how much I'm paying for, and exactly what this kind of budget can get me. Before, I was living in 2 different flats, both of them beach view and so on. It was roughly 400 a week-ish, 420 including bills, so that means electricity, Wi-Fi, gas, all of that, and basically that'll be it. Now I moved to another place and I'm paying $300 a week, so it's 300 Australian dollars a week including bills and so on. It's a bit more of the inside, it's 5-minute drive to the beach, but it's still super worth it. That means when it comes down to monthly expenditure, it would be a cut down of $500 in a month, which is a lot actually. And yeah, let's check it out. I'm already in the place and I want to show you guys exactly how it looks like. So first I'm gonna show you everything literally, and then I'll explain what is what and so on. First of all, it's a very quiet street. There's no path. The 2 places that I was before, there was some sort of like noise in the background, so a lot of cars running here and there. The street was very noisy as well. So here is very quiet. You see it? If I keep it quiet, it'll probably be quiet as well. I've got this massive gigantic garage, which is beautiful. I'm living with 2 more people, so take that into consideration. I'm not living by myself, which is alright. And I'm also sharing the bathroom. On the 2 places before, I had my own bathroom, but you know, here in Australia, toilet and the shower are separate, so it's not a big deal as long as the other person is clean. In that situation, it is. This is the garage. Look how beautiful it is. Yeah, it's very big, eh? Super big place. You've got my bike over there. I also got a jazz table too. My 2 housemates, they have 2 dogs, so the dogs are barking sometimes, and that's alright, no worries. So here we get inside of the house, and then this is sort of like the kitchen, living area, which is very cool. Hey, it's very cool. The kitchen is cool as well. I've got my things. A lot of cupboards around. Quite hot today, it's a very hot day. And what I like the most is that my housemates, they've got plants as well, so it's pretty cool. This is the area, it's very much bright as well. You see the living room, we've got a TV over there, nice couch. This is the living room, it's very bright. There's something you guys are gonna learn, the old unities and the beauties as well here in Australia. They sometimes can be very dark inside. And this place has so much window around that it's 100% like not that dark. It's very bright. So you come outside. This is the gardening area. It's very big as well. Wow, it goes like all the way down, Right, she go. Hey girl. Hey girl. She's really mad. So this is the gardening area. It's very big, eh? I feel like it's very big. Still gardening. The gardening goes around the house. As I told you guys, this is 300 a week, so it's quite worth it, hey? It's like cutting down my budget so much. So it's actually a very good deal, at least to me. $500 less. I mean, you have to take things into account. If you're moving to the inside of the city a bit more and you're spending more money driving than you were before, you have to see the count, like how much money you're spending. There are some people, they like just move so much to the inside of the city that they ended up like spending so much more on petrol and gas when it comes down to car, driving around and so on, that it's not worth it for them to move from where they stay in front of the beach to keep driving every day. It's just like you're gonna spend more time and the same amount of money, so it's not worth it. And here we've got my room. Not ready yet. Let's check it out. So I've got my bed, not a bed frame yet, but I'll have it afterwards. It's just that I didn't have anything. I've got my mirror as well, a lot of space, and a wardrobe Whew, it's big, eh? And that's something funny about Australian wardrobes as well. There's not that many shelves inside. So I bought this on Kmart and Big W. It's kind of like hang around and works like shelves. So it's pretty much worth it anyway. And it's a nice room. It's not that hot. We've got a nice ceiling fan as well. And this is basically my bedroom. And on the opposite there is another bedroom, which is my housemate. Then we got to the toilet. As I told you guys, the toilet is separate. So we've got the toilet, but the toilet is separate from the shower. So for someone who's sharing the house, it's just perfect. Look at this shower, so beautiful. Obviously I already put my plant over there. I've got a big mirror. Ooh, it's beautiful, hey? It's really nice. I enjoyed it a lot actually. And then we've got the laundry as well. So here's the laundry. Just big enough as well. So no worries, it's a nice place. Here we've got to hang clothes and so on. We've got a nice rose over there. So it's a cool place, eh? It's really worth it, $300. I think it's a nice deal, including bills. It's just paid $300, that's it, that's all. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah, basically that's it, guys. I'm gonna show you a little bit more around, but from a different perspective. I hope you enjoy it. This is what $300 Australian dollars got you a week here on the Gold Coast, including bills. I'm very happy to be sharing that. Thinking of moving to the Gold Coast, you can shoot me a message on Instagram, also TikTok. I'll be super grateful to help you out with accommodation, all the things that you need and stuff that you need actually to get to know a little bit more about Gold Coast. Is there anything that you guys need to know about here to be living in this place? Let me know in the comment section. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. It's not quite usually what I do, but since there were a lot of requests about it and people wanted to know exactly how it is, how much I'm paying for rent, and this is what it looks like. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do it. Hit the bell so you receive my videos every week, and also give thumbs up to support my channel. Don't forget to follow me on my other social. I post content every day on my Instagram, TikTok, and also Facebook. If you have any questions left, comment down below and I'll be super happy to sort it out. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Take care.